Historic Landmarks
Huh?
Commission is the
You
historic,
said, no.
is in two?
Across, yeah, two,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, we have,
Tell you.
a Golden Plus, I don't know where it's coming,
Well, we gotta get this, so, start that.
Yes.
Gotta be on videotape, on that, gotta be on videotape. Who's missing, Red?
but.
Action. Action.
Okay,
Here we go.
we have, actually a shorter than usual agenda tonight. Let's see if that translates into. We'll see, okay?
Yeah.
So number one is proposed budget amendment from planning. It's a small amount of money to cover shortfalls, some overtime shortfalls. And we want to transfer, CK would like to transfer $500 from 4 accounts into an overtime account.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
It's a little hard to read, but I think
Zero impact, right?
Okay, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Item 2 is a budget modification for, yeah. Okay, increase expense and revenue items for the CDBG improvement for Everett Hodge. Increase the expense item for $27,200 and increase the revenue line, I presume that's from the anticipated grant. But what I don't understand, that revenue, that line item is for user fees, not grant. You see that? I think there's something wrong there.
It should be CDBG.
Right, right, so I think the budget item, the line item is wrong. It ought to be CDBG reimbursement 2020, right?
Take a look there.
Instead of 2001. Line item number 2,
It should be 2020.
okay,
020.
2020.
2-0.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not user fee, that's CD.
That's the increase line?
That's the increase.
You're increasing both
Yeah,
sides.
read
correct?
this.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get 'em all.
Here's the
So,
remainder.
thank
You got it?
Oh, we got to.
Okay. Is there,
So we're just increasing, right, this is money that we've already had,
this,
This is,
you know,
yeah.
more money coming in, we're gonna spend it. At the high
this
center.
money that we gave. I have a motion.
Second. Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, we got,
It's passed.
Patch is not here. huh? You weren't here when this motion Zero impact.
The next one is a request from the police department. Last month, actually 2 months ago, May, we had the traffic safety forum in which a number of traffic concerns were expressed by the citizens. And many, the chief is saying that many of these concerns are directed at increased enforcement. And what he is saying is this will take additional expenditures, but he wants to set up a week before school and a week after school starts to put highlighted patrol of the various things that were cited. And this requires overtime, and he's looking for a transfer of $20,000 from contingency.
Sign it. You gotta sign it.
2-week window of time to help our officers patrol the public concerns with safety. A number of them were raised in the meeting.
Right.
So this is, I wasn't here last week, so this came from finance? Or was this
This
for
is
public
finance.
safety?
Well, this is part is from finance, so it's part of what I presented at public safety, but this is Chief Tinty's, part of it where, because he needs funds, it's now coming to finance.
What is it exactly is he proposing?
To have specific officers enforcing things, you know, because right now, we don't have enough officers to, you know, always pull over people who cruise through stop signs or see text messages, or texting, because they're en route to an emergency. So this will create an overtime budget, so people are just, or cops are just working on enforcement of traffic calming, traffic safety.
And where's the data that says that these are issues in the city? Was there data on that, or is it just calls that we're receiving? I mean, how did we come up with these
Well, it's
ideas
after-
that there's
yeah.
not enough enforcement?
Yeah, so after, I mean, my year and a half on public safety committee and talking about, you know, all the issues that residents come forth with, speeding issues, concerns. I get a lot of constituents concerned about people texting while driving and not, you know, blowing through stop signs. I know Steve talked about, you know, somebody not knowing that you stop at a crosswalk when a pedestrian's in it, a constituent, not Steve himself. And then at the forum, that was raised, and this is where the chief is bringing this up. This was raised.
So $20,000 is going to highlight this and
The idea is
And
it's
change.
as part of the campaign. It would be. I mean, it's already in the communication that people know it's going to be the week before school starts and the week of when school starts. So the idea is also to tie it into education. So advertise that this is going to be happening, which will hopefully stop some people from doing what they're not supposed to be doing.
So
In the
are
first
they,
place?
Is
are
this
they gonna
kind
be
of thing-
doing like education, or are they gonna be out? I'm
You know,
really-
Both.
I actually don't know if the chief's.
So we
I
don't
thought-
know,
Yeah, I
we
don't
don't
know.
know what this
I
means.
don't know if he's going to be
He says
just
he's
doing
increasing-
warning or he's going to be ticketing. That I don't know. That would be, I would imagine the chief or the mayor making that
Yeah.
decision, not me.
And that's my question, is where are they gonna be targeting? I mean, it's $20,000, where are they gonna be at? Are they gonna be all around the city, or are they gonna be in certain areas?
Is this kind of targeting been effective in the past? Is it something that?
I don't think Kingston has done this before.
I don't know.
But
So
there have been
officers
other.
can be assigned to specific enforcement details such as distracting driver, pedestrian safety. I mean, this is something that we need. $20,000, I would like to have some more information. The chief be here, somebody, a representative his, be here to say exactly where we're gonna try to. I mean, he's always said that we only have 5 patrol cars on duty. So where, or is he putting more patrol cars on duty to create this overtime, and where they can specifically locate? I would like to have more information on this before
And I'd like to know if this stuff is even effective. I mean, have other
It's
police
effective.
departments done it?
There
And
have
is
been
this-
other municipalities that do this.
And it's,
You may
Look
wanna
up,
reach out
look up
to-
pretty much any study,
I
federal
don't think you-
traffic safety, and you'll see enforcement is a crucial element. People don't just follow the rules. You know this from driving down the interstate, right?
I'm not talking about
As soon as you
enforcement.
see-
Enforcement is something that a police officer does every day.
No, this is
kind of-
extra enforcement.
Does this kind of, what'd you call it?
No, we don't need a special meeting.
This kind of
See.
spot check
No, or-
enforcement,
You reach out, or
is
just
this
reach out to
I
them.
think
effective
this is mainly targeting
long-term?
Yeah,
pedestrian safety, bus, school safety, you know, the crosswalks, the stop signs,
The texting.
all the things, and it's gonna be a citywide, it's not just targeting certain areas, it's citywide. Because our traffic safety campaign is citywide, much like we're going through the engineering department with the ability to put stop signs or yield signs up in various locations. We wanna, you know, do the engineering, the education, the enforcement. That's kind of how we're rolling with this whole thing.
we
It
have to
reminds
get,
me, it reminds me of the old
Chief.
movies with the cops.
Hey, we have a
behind
couple questions here.
the,
We're
the,
fine.
No,
in
no,
street traffic.
About
No.
the,
You know what I mean?
no, this is protecting kids' lives.
overtime, the $20,000
Uh-huh.
overtime, would you be able to answer
Is
some
it
questions? Right. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, okay? All right, we got Chief on the speakerphone.
Hi,
So-
Chief, this is
Chief.
Finance.
I apologize for not being there. I didn't have it on my agenda. I'm very sorry about that. I would have been there tonight.
Well, you're here now.
Well, yeah, you're here,
Very good.
you know, you're here via,
So, Chief, we've been discussing this for 5 or 10 minutes, and what's coming out, I'd like some more specifics. You're asking for funds from, transfer from the contingency for increased enforcement, 1 week before school and a week into the school. Can you maybe flesh that out a little bit more for us?
so, yeah, my questions are, you gonna put additional officers on, and if you know, are you gonna be putting them on that they're just patrolling around, or are they gonna be in specific locations?
Right, so part of it is the way we currently patrol, I'm just not able to get dedicated traffic enforcement. And as all of you know, I get calls from many of you about specific locations in Kingston. We're trying to couple that with a lot of the school safety stuff. We try to put officers out when we can, especially when school is back in session, and that's why we kind of chose this time frame. But we would be looking at specific times, specific locations. Ideally, we'd like to alert the public that we're going to be doing this. It's not a surprise tactic. We're not out to get anybody. We really just want people to drive a little bit careful throughout the city. You know, the premise behind it is to make them aware, right? The educational component, couple that with the enforcement part of it. And we've been trying to do this for a couple of years, but on small stuff, our funding for the Governor's Traffic Safety Council has been cut this year, I think by 20%. So it's a little bit harder for us to get out there for dedicated patrols. But essentially, that's what this money will be used for, specifically for overtime, for safety, traffic safety, and both as an educational component with warnings, and in some cases, with the issuance of summons, if the officers need to do so.
Okay, question? Because I know you do. I can see it burning. Go on.
Hey, Chief Patrick O'Reilly, how you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good. I do have some questions. Has this been proven effective, this kind of targeting law enforcement? You know, anytime I hear the word we're targeting someone with our law enforcement, it scares me a little.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Well, we're not targeting, we're not targeting anybody. We're trying to target offenders, general offenders who are violating the law, right? I mean, and I think it may have been one of you, I think it was you that asked for the speed sign, right? So there's speed issues throughout the city that we'd like to address, not with just the speed signs. I mean, you know, it becomes somewhat redundant to continually put out these signs when we know, hopefully, it's the same person doing it over and over. So I understand your concern. You're absolutely right. You know, we're not targeting any one individual. I guess a better word is to try to get out there and really kind of focus our efforts on traffic enforcement, not so much target people or target individuals, but focus our efforts towards traffic enforcement.
now, I want you to think about this. Wonder if we put that $20,000 towards education, educating people about the dangers of speeding, the dangers of stop signs, instead of
Overtime.
well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the
No.
$20,000 can be used for
But what I'm saying,
Education.
the 20,000 right now is targeted towards overtime.
That's
Right, and
standard.
the
Yeah.
enforcement, part of it is educational, especially if they're gonna give warnings. The end we're going to, is not a surprise tactic, we're going to tell folks before this happens, people are going to know. So that will hopefully educate some people to not text while driving, which people should know anyway. But this will educate the people who need to be educated instead of doing,
Enforcement is
instead of doing,
education.
you know, and I do plan on rolling out educational part of it. That's part of the 3 E's. Is one of them is educational, but the enforcement, the educational will wrap into that.
Are you planning on just giving warnings, or are you actually ticketing these targeted people?
They're not targeting
It
people.
depends on the individual that gets stopped. In some cases, a warning is very effective. It'll never happen again. And in some cases, if we find that the person has a record or a history of violating the traffic law, then most likely it's summons and let the judge know. But it is based upon whether or not the officer deems necessary that a warning is not effective. You know, our statistics show that we really are more of an educational component rather than enforcement in the city. So when we look at enforcing the law, that educational
That's good to hear.
Just keep that in mind, that, this money isn't to write tickets. This money is to put officers out to make people aware, and sometimes through the ticketing process, but to make them aware that what they're doing is unsafe, whether it be speed, failure to stop, traffic device, or whatever it might be. That's part of the component, but the 20,000 would be dedicated overtime to have officers do just that.
So Chief, this is, everybody's looking to jump in here. So not to put words in your mouth, I mean, it sounds like we're gonna have a bigger presence. Not necessarily that we're chasing people down, but there's gonna be a bigger presence on the streets. And, hopefully that will be a deterrent and education in itself. Is that fair to say? That there's gonna be more?
That's correct. We will be adding to the current, the manpower that we have scheduled right now as a regular day-to-day, it would be answering calls. We would actually put officers on overtime to make sure that their specific assignment would be to enforce the traffic safety laws in Kingston. And again, it wouldn't be a surprise. We're not hiding anywhere. Part of the educational component you're talking about would be also to announce that we're going to be out there enforcing the laws. So that it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody out there that we're going to be, and we've done this both at the Governor's Traffic Safety Council level with funding for Buckle Up New York. Anytime there's big events coming on, big weekends, we try to be part of that announcement that the state puts out. And then ideally, when officers can, time permitting, focus on the traffic safety.
So, Chief, right now, we have five vehicles out a day.
Depends on the shift. It depends on day shift. It's 5 vehicles, 6 officers on 412, 6 officers, 5 vehicles, and on the midnight shift, it's 4 vehicles and 5 officers.
So
we try to keep one doubled up at all times.
So it's fair to say that we're not going to be targeting anybody, but if somebody's doing 65 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone or 35-mile-per zone, your officer's going to write them a ticket, which they should. On a normal basis, they would be doing that, right?
If it's an individual whose history shows that they fail to obey the law, we look up the license history and then the person's been stopped for speeding and ticketed before, then that person has shown a disregard for the law and may need to be in front of a judge. It depends on a lot of things, but in some cases the officer needs to determine that a summons is good and another a warning, right? If we have a high school student that's driving and maybe it's a new driver, that person, a warning will go a lot further than a ticket would.
And it's fair to say if somebody's passing a school bus that has their stop sign out, that they're going to get a ticket.
Right, because that law is, we talk about the safety of the students and the drivers in that case.
Yeah.
So in those cases, the state wants us to write the ticket.
Okay.
Whether or not the prosecution takes place and there's points awarded, that's at the judge at the court level.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly that can be adjusted, but normally at the scene, and something like that where there's a clear violation, then in that case the officer most likely will write the ticket.
So it's not to say that we're targeting anybody, but if they're violating a law, a city, county, state law, they're going to be subject to a ticket as they would normally would be.
Correct, right.
Correct.
It's no different than what we try to do now.
Okay.
Again, the determination is based upon a number of factors, but that is correct, right? The officer could deem that a ticket is necessary to make sure that this person understands what they're doing is unacceptable, that the judge themselves is going to have to tell them. And again, it may be that, hey, listen, I was late for work, I'm just trying to get there, you look at the license, it's clean, and this is a single violation based upon the circumstance, the officer's going to deem that a warning is enough.
Okay.
And in some cases, that's not the case.
And this is going to be 2 weeks, or a week prior and a week during the beginning of the school year?
Ideally, that's what we'd like to do.
All right.
The state encourages the enforcement of making sure that people don't test buses, so we'd like to do both. And again, part of it is to make sure that it's announced, that there's no surprises, we're not trying to get the jump on anybody like that. That's not the case.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Chief, I think I answered this already, but Patrick again. Do you know if this kind of spot enforcement tactic is effective? I mean, is there any data on that?
It's effective in locations that are, for instance, if there's 10 hotspots in Kingston based upon accidents or
Okay, now Chief, why aren't we looking into hiring a new officer if enforcement is an issue? Why aren't we looking to hire a new officer?
Because Ed wants
An
new people.
additional
You mean
officer?
to add to the current budget or to fill the vacancy? We have one vacancy currently that we're looking to fill. We're in the process now, but you're looking to add an officer, that's what you mean?
I'm saying if we're having problems with enforcement, we need more enforcement, we're paying $20,000 in overtime. You know, why aren't we looking, are we looking at hiring a new officer? Instead of this,
An officer costs the city, a new officer for the first year costs about $80,000 with benefits. So the $20,000 can be used for specific locations at specific times. One officer would really only benefit one shift for only, a couple of hours a week, based upon the time off requests and so on. Our formula, as it is contractually, requires that there's essentially almost 3 officers assigned to a shift in order to get one on the street because of time off and training requirements and so on. So to add one officer is not going to have the same effect in this particular case as it would to put overtime specifically to certain officers that will be out there enforcing certain laws.
thank you very much.
Rennie?
So
I really do apologize. I wish you were there. I could explain a lot better.
That's all right,
See my hands moving?
you're doing great, Chief. Rennie has a question.
I just want to clarify, Chief, so the basic idea here is the safety of our streets, right?
That is correct, absolutely.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Chief, I have a question. Doug,
My
when you
minutes
give,
are run out.
when you give a warning, does that go in the driver's record? Can you pull that up 3 months later if you stop the same driver? Is there a record of the warning?
No, there's no record on the warning on the driver's license. There is a record of the stop in our records management system. So we're able to tell whether or not John Jones got pulled over by Officer Tippy a week ago at the same location going through the same stop sign. And in that case, the new officer, the one that did the second stop, they determined that a warning that Tippy gave wasn't enough the first time.
Okay.
And the officer has access to that immediately, that information?
Yes, pretty much right on the spot, dispatch, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any others? Hold on just a moment, Chief. Well, hang in here while we, any other questions, discussion?
I have
Is
one.
there-
Hey Chief, it's Andrea. When you're talking about, the warnings versus tickets, you'll make sure that the officers who are going out specifically for this enforcement will know that it's more warnings than tickets. Tickets will be the, extreme. Is that true?
That is true, and even now, just to make everyone on the council aware, our philosophy down there is that the warning should be the primary focus of the enforcement. We don't, and I say this, but the city of Kingston Police Department doesn't benefit from any ticket revenue. It's not like when we write a ticket, we get money in our budget, right? You know that that's not the case. So there's really no benefit to the police department, whether it's a warning or a summons. It's determined at the scene based on the officer's assessment at that time whether a person should get a warning, which is 90% of the time, or a ticket if it's a blatant disregard to the law.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any others?
questions?
Okay, Chief, thank you.
Again, my apologies. I would have been.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right, Chief, take care.
Take care. Thank you. Yeah, bye.
You guys own that minutes too.
The committee report reads, budget transfer to the 2019 budget. This is a request to transfer from contingency to our overtime pay account to increase funding in our traffic safety campaign. The funding will be used for specific traffic enforcement details on an overtime basis to address the public concerns with traffic safety. So we're talking about an estimated impact of $20,000.
Motion.
Second. So we could talk about hiring like 3 more police officers, but just that, so you would have enough to cover maybe another driver out at a particular time. But then you're talking adding like 1.5 to 2% to the total city budget, which means you'd have to raise taxes. Just so that, because I've talked to him about this before, and that's where the crux is.
All
We
in
think it's
favor of the
the-
motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
So if we think it's that important, we can go that route. Hire more police officers, raise taxes a little bit, and let
Okay,
people know
moving
why.
on to,
Early Avenue,
Getting
right?
$20,000
Hurley Avenue,
overtime doesn't
Mayor
raise
Sean?
taxes?
No, we're taking it out of contingency.
Well, money's gotta go back in there. Comes out, it's gotta go back.
no, I'm not clear on it. I thought at the last council meeting, this is on Hurley Avenue project. We passed a resolution for the project and a resolution to bond. Is that not correct?
Yeah,
So I don't understand why you're asking for this resolution. There's something I'm missing here.
certainly. And my intention was to get this resolution to you guys. Sean from the engineering department now.
Yeah, come on, Dorn.
And there was a mix-up somewhere along the way.
Pat,
And so that's why I'm here now. This is just a resolution. The state requires certain language
you didn't vote.
from the council to initiate project construction. And that language is in the resolution that I sent in the communication, and I have some copies here now if anybody wanted to see those resolutions.
So what was missing from when we did?
So you passed a bond resolution
No,
last,
we also have resolution 123.
yes. So you passed other resolutions initiating the design process in the past. And so the DOT process, where we're receiving the majority of funds for paving Hurley Avenue, proceeds in phases. And so in the past, you guys have authorized the design phase, which released $70,000 to initiate the design of this project. Last month, I asked for you to modify the original bond to include the funding for construction. And again, I meant for this resolution basically saying that you're passing the bond and recognizing that you're covering 100% of the cost of the non-federal share of the project.
So what's the estimated financial impact?
I left that blank because I wasn't sure where John Tui would want to fill that out. I think in the bond.
There's no financial impact of this because you've already, the financial impact is when you pass the bond.
Okay.
Well, we passed that resolution here. That's what's confusing me. Number 123 last week. And how is that different from what you're proposing now?
It's a different, this encompasses the previous engineering. Previously, there was a previous bond for $70,580, and then, right?
Are you talking about resolution 134?
You had previously passed a resolution for just the engineering design, and then you later came back and passed the bond resolution for the construction, which is, this resolution encompasses construction and the engineering
So
design.
this one was only for design?
134?
No, 123.
Oh, I don't have 124.
123, authorizing implement funding for It's not clear, you're saying this one was just for design?
I don't know. Oh, no, this is for construction. There was a previous for design, you don't have here.
No, this is the one we just passed last week.
Right, that was for construction.
Okay,
This is for construction and design,
so what's missing is one for design.
which was a while back. And now the state is asking him to encapsulate all of it into one resolution.
Can I see 123 or?
Yeah.
And was this wasn't last month, was it?
Yes, it was. That passed last week. And I'm trying to understand the difference between that, which you're holding in your hand, and the one you're asking us to pass now.
Indeed. Okay. So the previous amount does not include the design funds.
123 does not include design?
123 does not include the design funds. And so as John was saying, this is kind of wrapping the entire project up and moving
And
it
this
forward.
one that you're giving us now,
It's 1,285,
hmm,
1.2,
Mhm.
1.3, right? And that one right there you have in your hand from last time, it doesn't have that. That doesn't incorporate that?
No, $1,214,000 is just for the construction phase of this project, which you guys authorized in that resolution. So
Now-
when we
now it's-
communicate.
So now it's an additional, let's say, $71,000.
No, we already authorized that. Is that what are you saying we have to spend more? Or is that what you're asking?
What this says is that the sum of $1,285,000 is hereby appropriate. And it said resolution 123 is $1,214,000. So that, if my math is correct, I'm not a math teacher.
that's good enough. Is that what's on that 123?
The bond that you passed, 134, was for $1,285,000.
Okay, that's for design and construction.
That's for the entire project, including a
But
contingency.
what is the amount on 123 there?
$1,214,000.
It's $1,214,000.
Okay, now I understand.
So,
You need another 71,000 for design.
yeah, and again, you already appropriated those funds, and I'm not asking
In
for
the
any more
bond.
money. Yes,
We appropriated that
Last-
in the bond.
last year.
So you're asking to approve a project of $1,285,000, which encompasses the construction plus the design.
And
Now I understand.
And working with DOT, which is federal funds, they
Alright.
have all of these kind of checkpoints that you
Yeah,
come
I
to.
got
They
you.
send us these boilerplate resolutions that we then have to modify to fit the city of Kingston's formats. In the past, there have been some slight discrepancies in our translations of their resolutions, which has caused us to have to come back to you guys in the past, which might
So now
make
you-
it feel like we come all the time with these resolutions that don't say much.
There's no financial
So we,
impact
so
on
no
this.
There's
financial
zero-
impact.
There-
We've
there's-
approved them in two previous resolutions.
Yeah,
All
and-
you're doing is wrapping them up.
And again, this was just meant to be side by side with the
Okay.
bond, approving the entire, basically saying you approve of the entire project. Alderman Ventura Morel came down to my office, we went through the designs page by page, he's comfortable with the project and the budget and, you know,
Okay,
it,
so this cleans it up.
this is just yes,
I got it.
yes, just.
Following the state's requests.
So I did make one modification to the committee report, I don't know if I should hand that to John or to.
You know, you say everything.
So, Alderman Coop, I just added that last sentence, which encapsulates section 5 of the current resolution, just authorizing the mayor to execute any necessary agreements in relationship to this project. So I just wanted to add that into the committee report,
Okay.
just that sentence. I'm not modifying the post-resolution.
Okay. Do you want to sign this for engineering?
Sure.
So,
So we do intend to advertise this for construction immediately and hope to get it bid next month and constructed this fall. We're operating on a,
from engineering, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the implementation of funding of the costs, by that I mean construction and design, of an eligible transportation federal aid project and state aid project to fully fund the local share of federal and state aid eligible and ineligible project costs for the Hurley Avenue paving and completes projects PIN 8761.94. Authorizes the mayor of the city of Kingston to enter into and to execute any and all related documents.
So there is no financial impact, right?
Right.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Scott Childress.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thanks, Joe. I'm glad you clarified it.
but yeah, my apologies again.
That's all
I'm
right.
still learning this process, so in the future I'll make sure that they come together and I'm here to answer questions that at one time.
It will be a test, so.
Yeah.
All right, no, we learned Bill everything.
Lincoln Street.
Thank you, Sean.
We have to talk later, I guess.
Okay, moving on to item 5. Creation of expendable trust account, suggested action.
It's like from
Okay, Dan?
mimeograph. I wouldn't even think what the term was for that.
Yeah, I'll look on with Tony. I'll look on with you.
This is the same one we have right here.
Okay.
Same thing.
So
Same thing.
I'm here today to do a little housekeeping, just like Sean was. Ulster County IDA with approval from this governing body, approved Governor Clinton Yasmin agency agreement with Ulster County IDA for that project. Inside that uniform agency agreement, the applicant agreed to expend $150,000 to improve the ingress and egress at 1 Albany Avenue, traffic flow and pedestrian crossings and to that all that type of stuff. So at this point in time, with the roundabout going in, and we don't have a good solid design yet of where we would like them to spend this money. There's no sense in having them just spend money on ingress and egress when we don't have a design over there yet. So what we're gonna do is create an expendable trust account that allows us to hold that money for this specific project to design ingress and egress and to be able to have better traffic flow and pedestrian safety at 1 Albany Avenue. We know it's problematic. They have a couple ins and outs. One of them they're not using right now. We sat with DPW engineering department and go ahead. I'm sorry, Tony.
No, I'm waiting for you to get done.
We sat with engineering, DPW, myself, planning, and talked about this as to what to do. And so we decided to create an expendable trust account to be able to hold that money so we know where the most appropriate way to have them spend that money is.
So basically, really just putting these funds that we've been allocated into an account until we further study to see how best to use this money.
In the agency agreement, they're required to expend a certain amount to improve the ingress and egress at their own project. And they came to us and said, well, how do you want us to do it? And we weren't exactly sure at that point in time. So this money can be used. We know we're gonna probably have some future projects at 1 Albany Avenue. That traffic signal we know is dated, is inappropriately timed. We don't know the effect of the new traffic circle yet. So
Yes,
instead of having money
reason.
just to spend the money, so we're gonna have them hold that money for them, and then when the time comes, be able to appropriately expend that money
Is this money can only be used, allocated for that?
for that specific purpose.
That's why it has to come to common council. Only the common council can establish
It's
funds
another
that
line
are
account?
outside of the general fund.
It's basically another line item?
No, it's actually a trust account, an expendable trust account. So the common council has to authorize those accounts. So that's why the request to the common
So
council.
where does the money come from?
From K&G Landmark, the developer.
From who?
K&G Landmark, the developer of 1 Albany Avenue and Governor Clinton Yasmin Towers, the redevelopment project.
Basically, the
So-
money's gonna come in, then the money's gonna go out. There's gonna be no city share of this. It's just.
Right now, we're
It's
just
just a
holding.
it's just a holding account, it's a
Holding account.
fiduciary account.
Okay.
And who has to say on how that's spent when it comes to that? How does that get accomplished?
Ultimately, it would have to be for these purposes.
Right.
That was already set up when we
And who's gonna decide?
went to that
Us?
agreement.
Who's gonna
The
decide?
city would decide that.
That makes sense?
Yep. I motion to approve. Second. Take your
Who
take
has
your
a
pick.
second?
Ready.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you need tonight? Right, your son swim?
That was this year for, actually, back up to chief a little bit.
Okay.
These all have
All right,
three?
all right, I don't
I
see
did,
that
I
item.
did have one thing I maybe wanted to add to that.
Sure,
and
bring it up.
just
New business.
The construction zone, and the enforcement throughout the construction zone for the city when we're out there paving or doing the sewer repairs. Had quite a few close calls over the last month. People texting, running to the backs of the trucks, and also to flag them. So, again, I wanted to, utilize with the chief and his staff, maybe parking in the car from time to time in the construction zone when we're working there. Wake people up a bit.
Public safety.
And again, I would like to thank you for taking care of that
You go, Pat.
noisy manhole at the corner of Main and Washington. It's much better, so thank you. I know it's a temporary fix, and the paving will start on that approximately when.
Thank you.
I'm hoping for,
Keep me up in here, huh?
We're gonna be prepping for that.
Okay.
Wait, was that for Washington Avenue? Okay.
I just finally got a signed contract or something.
They're just 3 pages.
Allocation of funds.
I got 2 pages.
Yeah.
Put towards-
Well, there's,
Okay.
masters are down there. Yeah.
Short one? Which one is short?
I just want to
Right here. When you hit the other.
Here. Can you grab the other one too? 'Cause I was gonna do that. Yeah. So, you have, just handed out the finance update for the month of July. We ran numbers through May. We haven't closed June yet. We are 41.67% of the way through the year. The budget is 38.67% spent, so we have a 3% positive variance. Most of the major pay lines, I've listed them all out, are tracking positive. If you have any questions on any of the pay lines,
So
there's several that
part-time.
are tracking negative.
Okay.
Tend to be running a little bit high in overtime. On the backside, we're running positive on the regular pay, which is gonna, at this point, more than offset the overtime. The sales tax, there was a handout for the sales tax. It's actually been very positive over the last number of months. It's currently 4.65% over the prior year. Keep in mind, we have a contractual limitation on the amount that we'll take in, but at this point, it appears that the budget is safe on sales tax. The parking revenues in line with budget, building code revenue in line with budget, and I gave you updated investment account balances, the contingency balance prior to tonight, and then the fund balance as last measured December 31st, 2018. That doesn't take into account anything that the council's done since then or the performance during 2019. So once again, that gets measured annually. And
So retirement's above, huh?
what's that?
Retirement?
Retirement accumulation, what that is years ago, the departments would budget the retirement accumulation, like, retirement accumulation basically is a separation of service payment. They used to budget that within the actual department. We found that those accounts were notoriously over budgeted, just because it's difficult for each individual department to judge who's gonna retire, when they're gonna retire. Employees only have to give 30 days notice. So when you're trying to complete a budget for the following year, it's tough to gauge that. So rather than having these budgets within each department, we moved them all and did estimates and just moved those monies into contingency. So that way, when the retirements happen, the departments can then submit and ask for the money from contingency. I believe you're gonna, you'll see one from, I think, Public Works next month. I mean, it's just a practice we've had over 5 years now. It seems to work pretty well.
There's one thing I want to say in the positive, because, we get some, feedback about how negative the parking meter people are. And this, a couple of days ago, parking meter, I was in a place, I won't say where it is, who it was, but that person did not read the meter, came, allowed the people where I was located at, opportunity to come out and pay another quarter or drive away, which is good. That's a positive way, instead of being all negative. So, and I didn't see that personally. I haven't seen it, witness it personally, but I know people are saying how negative they are. And in that case, this particular parking meter person allowed the people who had the meter might have expired, maybe like a minute, 30 seconds, to come out and drop another quarter or whatever into the meter or drive away. So I just want to say that's the way we should be doing it for the most part.
I like to hear that, Tony, by the way.
Yeah.
John, how about that company that was trying to recoup old fines? How's that working? Or is that over, or what's
I think there was, I submitted, yeah, we have a budget transfer in place, that is already passed the council, it's already been to the council,
Right.
I reported that amount, payment's been made to the.
No, I remember you doing it. Is it
Yeah.
still continuing though?
Right now, no, I mean, we do this periodically, and we do it.
Oh, so that project just ended?
Yeah, we
Oh,
do, periodically, we'll do audits of the telephone, we'll do
Yeah,
like
yeah,
gross
yeah,
receipts tax, franchise tax. You can't do it constantly because, you have to let a little bit of time accumulate in between times where you do it, otherwise there's no fruit there for a vendor to come in and do it, so, it's been fairly productive, but, it's dwindling a bit, every time we do it, it just gets more efficient, so,
Sorry.
I'm sure some point in the future we'll be doing a different one. Last time we did telephone, we didn't have a lot, but,
All right, John,
Yeah.
thank you.
you're welcome.
Other questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second hand. We got a lot of people throwing up their hands on that one.